October Delegate Assembly come to order. Could we please rise? Captain, could you lead us in the pledge?
My pleasure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please review the minutes of the meeting. I know that they were sent out, but if somebody hasn't read them over the last couple of days. So we have a very large agenda today, a lot of things we have to cover. We're going to start with law enforcement.
Thank you, Fausto. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I know you have a busy meeting, so I'm going to try to make this quick. We're going to go first into the traffic report. So this month, last month in September, we had 7 citations written and 6 warnings, and there was 1 accident. So that's not too bad. But I looked at these numbers and I spoke to my team. Last month we were busy at the sheriff's office. We got very fortunate with the storm, unfortunately, for our friends and families over on the West Coast. That was very devastating. But we were preparing for that storm by, once the weather started to change, by the 20th of September, we were already moving resources. So PBSO was well aware of what was going on, and we weren't sure of the track. So a lot of our focus was storm preparation for, about the last third of the month. And then obviously when the storm hit over there, we have a big contingency. This county is very well staffed and resourced, and I got to tell you that we're making an impact over there. So don't think that, we're not doing anything collectively as a community, as a group. You have Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, you have Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, you have our communications division, you have elements from our county, our EOC over there assisting, and they're representing us as a community over there, and the people are very, very, very grateful that the entire state of Florida is over there assisting them getting through that natural disaster. I'm telling you, October is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to have more motor deputies and presence. I sent some enforcement in last night. I got a thank you from someone coming in. I got a message late last night when we were doing enforcement here. Someone was doing 52 miles an hour in the village. I'm telling you, that's not acceptable. They were doing double the speed limit, and that person got a ticket, and that's a very expensive ticket, and that's going to affect their insurance. So I'm telling you, I'm very kind, and my people are kind. We understand a little bit over. You'll probably get the greeting from the deputy, slow down. But if you're doing double the speed limit, you're going to get a coupon, and it's not going to be pleasant. So just letting you know that. Okay, let's go into the crime report. So we had 182 calls for service, not too bad, and 35 cases were reported. Now, you're going to not be surprised when I go through these cases of interest again. What's our number one biggest problem? Fraud. Fraud, right. Wait till I read this number. You guys are going to flip out of your seats. All right, but let's go through some minor stuff first. We had a theft from the community laundry storage room in Windsor N, and some countertop stools were taken. We had another minor theft from a patio area, some type of device called the Shakespeare Ugly Stick. I have no idea what that is, but that was... Oh, what, the fishing pole? Thank you, Commissioner. You learn something new every day. All right. For our fraud cases, so we had, this is the big one, and I got to tell you guys. So victim was contacted by a representative from Amazon regarding unauthorized transactions and was then referred to an Ashley Green from Bank of America. Well, this Ashley Green from Bank of America ended up convincing the victim to wire to Peru and Hong Kong $477,000. I would drop the mic, but that's not, I think that takes the case so far as the 5 years I've been your commander, I come up in front of you. That is a lot of hard work over someone's lifetime, gone in an instant. And this money's overseas somewhere. Our financial crimes unit at headquarters is investigating the case. But please, 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 please do not entertain these people that contact you via email, via phone. I don't care. Listen, I tell you all the time, I don't care if they say we're with the Benevolent Association of Law Enforcement from the Three Moose Lodge, wherever. If you don't know who they are, you're not hurting my feelings or the sheriff's feelings, don't deal with them, okay? If it's legitimate and you know who you're dealing with, that vendor or that charity, that's something different and you vetted them. But if you don't know who they are on the other end of the phone, don't do it. You can be proactive and go to these websites and go to these places to donate your money, especially now with the hurricane. You're going to get a lot of solicitors trying to trying to play in your heartstrings and have you part with your money for hurricane relief. You be proactive and you go to the online charity and you donate that way. Yeah. Yeah, I'll take questions afterwards. Yeah, let me just finish up real quick. We had an issue, check washing, which is an old-fashioned crime, is kind of coming back again, and they're targeting more of the senior communities because they tend to feel that the population doesn't engage in electronic banking. So there was an issue where a victim became aware of a fraud from her bank from a check that she wrote back in March of 2022 to United Health. Well, that check was processed a second time to a Billy Williams for $9,400. So be aware of, it's really important to review your statements when they come in and to reconcile your checking account to make sure that a check doesn't show up a couple months later that was already processed by the bank. The bank is assisting this customer, so is our local detective here in our detective bureau, but just be aware of that. And if you don't feel comfortable with electronic banking, maybe you have a younger family member that can help you do that. And you can send your payments electronically through the banking system. And really what it is the bank will write the check for you for some of these payees. Some of them are electronic, like if it's a credit card, they just transfer the money wirelessly and it's really instant. Some of them, if it's a HOA or some kind of vendor they don't have in their system, they will actually print the check and mail it for you, and it's very convenient. So please do that if you can. We're investigating another fraud. It has to do with a signature on a document, a forgery. And it involves a guardian. So just be careful. You have these people in your homes that you build a bond with or that you trust, but always have a family member kind of watching out, having eagle eyes over your accounts, your wills, and all your important documents. We had a vandalism. Some glue was put on the mailboxes. I think we used glue remover. We solved that one. So I think the mailboxes are okay. We had a couple of, we had a fire in a women's bathroom sauna, but it got extinguished by the sprinkler system. Everything was worked out. We had, just be careful in the bathrooms. We had a resident report that someone had defecated on the floors and walls in Wellington F. So, I'm sure that was handled, but just be careful when you're in and out of the bathrooms. Does anybody have any questions about the crime report before I'm gonna talk a little bit more about something else in a minute? Go ahead, ma'am. All I get is a brief synopsis. What it was she was contacted by Amazon, saying that there was some type of fraud. So what they most likely did was convinced her that there was other fraud within her bank accounts, because she ended up Bank of America. This rep contacted her. They knew that she banked at Bank of America, so they probably had some of that detailed, sensitive information, or she might have provided that, and they convinced her that there was some fraud going on with her accounts at Bank of America. And if you're a victim, you don't send money somewhere. You expect someone to make you whole and expect someone to investigate or take care of your complaint. You don't send money like when we show up. You don't send us money at the sheriff. We're here to provide service and to help you. Your bank is supposed to do that. All the people that you have these relationships with are supposed to do that, not accept money from you. Yes, ma'am. It depends on the type of fraud. A lot of times, once they might start, it's called phishing. So what they do is they're looking for information, and once they build a relationship with the victim and they're given a certain amount of information, if they have the bank account number and they can log in and see the type of funds that she has. Also, there's other means and methods of getting that. a lot of times these banks are hacked by, on the dark web, and they get a list of their customers, and they see what kind of accounts they're holding and investments, and then they go back and they try to target those particular people that have high balances or high net worth. Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, did everybody hear that? Okay, you want to come up to the mic real quick, sir? That's important information.
Excuse me, Captain. I just need to make an announcement. Raymond Arcand, could you please go to the back? You're from Canterbury D.
How you doing, everybody? My name's Mike. I do a lot of IT work and website security. I run the website for our association. But a lot of the reports that I've seen and that my friends and family have seen, someone will call you from a financial institution. In that case, let's say Bank of America. They're going to tell you that they're from there. This is your account information, whatever it is, and when they're phishing. They say thanks, hang up on them, contact your own financial institution. You have their number. You can't go wrong with that because you're going to find out that that person doesn't exist. When you get something in your email that's saying, oh, I'm from your bank, never click on that sort of thing. If it looks too suspicious or the email doesn't match, it's not real. All it's going to do is take you to a website where it's going to look exactly like your bank, but it's not. It pulls all your information because everyone just clicks save on your password. So you can never go wrong by clicking no, and you can never go wrong by just hanging up and making your own phone call, and you can bypass a lot of those things.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other questions before I move on to something else? Yes, ma'am.
I discovered a bent screen and a window left open early one morning last month and called security. and he touched the screen, so forget the fingerprints. But I later called security to see what the outcome was, and he didn't have a report yet. And I said, well, let me call the Sheriff's Department, see if they have a report, and they hadn't gotten a report yet, and you don't have it on your list.
I don't know if that was a burglary or not, so it could have been a suspicious incident. It could have been a number of things.
Okay.
But I don't have any burglaries list. I had a couple suspicious incidents, but they weren't very noteworthy.
Well, I figured if it was the owner, he wouldn't have bent his own screen and he wouldn't have left the window open.
You'd be surprised what people do. And I don't have time to tell you the stories.
Donald, you had something to say?
Yeah, just on matters like this, when you see something like a bent screen or an open window, your first call should be the police department.
Right.
Your second call should be security. Security won't call the police for you. You see something that might be a crime, call the professionals.
When I did call the Sheriff's Department, they told me that I was not the owner and I couldn't report it.
Oh, that's not, well, I'll take care of that. That's not how, yeah. Did you report it as a suspicious incident or a possible burglary or?
I told her what I had found.
Okay.
And that the security had been notified. And she said, well, security's going to have to call us. You can't report it.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, I'll look into that, ma'am. Ma'am, what building was that? Sorry.
131 Berkshire F, as in Frank.
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Okay. Real quick, I just want to address, I know you guys are considering enhancing the security here at Century Village with a LPR system. It's a license plate reader system. I just want to advocate a little bit. These systems are invaluable. We've been using them here in Palm Beach County as a investigatory tool for crime suppression now for quite some time. In District 3 alone, we have three or four portable ones that we set up throughout our area of operation, and they've been just great enhancement in developing information and leads when it comes to solving crimes. and not just solving crimes, but helping to find missing people, suspicious vehicles, anything that might come upon the radar screen. And how these license plate reader systems work is it's a very high-tech camera that takes pictures of vehicles in a certain area at a certain rate of speed. And certain companies have different softwares that's very advanced where that camera is able to identify type of car, if the car has any markings on it, if the car has bumper stickers on it, if the car and of course it captures the license plate. So, and especially in Century Village is like a city, it would really behoove you guys as a line of defense around your area of operation or your city to have these, because God forbid something happens within the village, you have that car or that vehicle that's coming in and also going out. And something happens, for an example, and the person comes out and sees a vehicle fleeing and that vehicle was involved in a crime or an incident, but you couldn't see the tag, but, oh, I know it was a red four-door Toyota. Well, you could go to this, you'll be building your own information database here at the village. So as you call law enforcement or security, they can search that system for a red four-door Toyota. And all of a sudden, brrr, all the red four-door Toyotas, when a certain amount of time that entering or leaving the village, come in. And also, if that person's checked in, you have a name now to go with that vehicle. Or if law enforcement gets involved, we can run the tag and find out who belongs to that vehicle. The technology is so advanced too that, let's say all you saw was, oh my God, that vehicle had a Joe for County Commissioner bumper sticker on it. They can run cars with bumper stickers on it. Not to bring the county. I'm just, any kind of bumper sticker. It could be anything. My kid's an honor student at ABC school. Hey, that car had a red bumper sticker on it, deputy. They can go back. They can search for bumper stickers on cars during this time frame, and it comes up. So I just want to let you know that I encourage you guys to think about that and consider it, and you would be enhancing your own security and also assisting law enforcement. We have a community. There's one or two in the north end of the county that have placed their own personal license plate reader systems to protect their communities. Our detectives have access to that, and anytime there's been a crime-related issue, our detectives have gone in there, and our solvability of these crimes increases dramatically. So does anybody have any questions about, yes, license plate readers?
If I see a car speeding down the road, is this system going to do anything?
No, because and I don't know the specifics of where you're going to set up your cameras. I'm assuming that they're probably going to be set up at your entrance and exit points. So they're not going to be mobily around the village. So they're not going to be set up on your main thoroughfares. Speeding is a different situation. That's not considered a crime. It's a civil infraction in the state of Florida, and that's something that an officer has to witness or has to use a measuring speed device to be able to hold the person accountable. Yes, ma'am.
I still see, I look for the speeding signs on North Street,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't see any visible signs for the speed limit. There are on West, but I don't see any on.
You may want to get with the village on
Donald.
that. Okay, Donald.
Yeah, there are 4 speed limit signs on north, south, east, and west drives. And there are also speed limit signs on each of our entry roads.
Okay. Any other questions about license plate readers? No? Okay. All right. Anything else
right.
for the board?
No, good.
Okay, we'll have a representative at the 1 o'clock meeting. The
Thank you.
lieutenant's out and I won't be able to attend.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
All right.
Before I ask the fire rescue Al to come up, ladies and gentlemen, while we have someone here speaking, please keep the chatter down. It's a low ceiling in here, and up on the stage, my head is vibrating, especially on this side. Have the conversations quiet. Thank you. Go ahead, Al.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would suggest that people come up or we move a mic around.
We have a microphone set up in the back, so they don't have to walk all the way up front. It's already taken care of.
Well, I think they should pass it around. I mean, it's up to, I'm having a difficulty, maybe.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. I'm Al Pulvereni from the Professional Firefighters of 2928. I just want to say good morning to everyone. we're very lucky. If you can keep my brothers and sisters that are over on the West Coast helping out in your prayers, that'd be great. They're doing some hard work. We got a hazmat team over there. There's literally propane tanks that are floating up out of the ground, and they're mitigating that and keeping the people safe over there. There's a lot of work ahead of us. Also, we had another deployment go up to North Florida for the flooding. So, and then this September, we just had 212 calls here in Century Village. I don't have the breakdown, but from medical to fire alarms. But also, I'm working on the yellow dot program. We're working on making more of them. We ran out. And I will have more. The yellow dot, if you don't know what it's for, it's to represent yourself when you can't speak to us, and it's in your car, a yellow sticker on the back left, and in your glove box. The other thing, we're coming into October. It's that time of season where we're going to get a huge fluctuation of people moving down to South Florida. They're going to be opening up their condos. You're going to see batteries. Make sure you're telling your neighbors to check their batteries and their smoke detectors, things of that nature, to be safe. I have to throw this out here. Do not use your grill inside your condo. So during the hurricane, we had a couple calls for that. You do not do that, okay? It's for outside in a specific location here in Century Village. It's very, very, very dangerous, especially any generators or anything of that matter if they're doing construction. But just remember, at 3 o'clock in the morning, when you see a guy my size, 6'5", I was a 5-year-old with the plastic helmet on, and I really appreciate that we, as brothers and sisters, the Professional Firefighters Union, get to serve you, because it's a calling, it's not a career, and it's not a job. So that's what we have. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Yes, ma'am. I'll try to get you a yellow dot. But I gave a bunch. Did you hand those out when I left them last
I
time?
believe so, yes.
Okay. We're working on making one that's fully encased so we don't get that problem where we have pamphlets and no stickers, that the sticker's going to be embedded in the pamphlet. So we're working on that at our union office right now. So it'll be, when you get one, you'll have a sticker that you can peel off, put the information. But one thing, I'm just curious with that pamphlet, I would fill it out and put it on your refrigerator in a Ziploc bag, a copy of it. So then if we're there and you can't speak to us, they'll know what it is, and then go, okay, here's our Medicaid, we have the list, and we can treat you properly. So we don't give you medications you're allergic to, and we know your history. Any other questions? It's great to see you. We're very busy. I have to go have an appointment. So have a great day. God bless.
Commissioner Weiss.
I guess he lowered it for me. Good morning, everybody. I'll be very brief as well. First off, I just want to let you know, or you may not be aware, that when the hurricane came through, we had 2 tornadoes in Palm Beach County. One of them hit a community down in South County in Delray, Kings Point, and it displaced 58 residents there. But I will tell you, everybody sprung into action, got them first into a shelter overnight, and then got everybody housing. So everybody is well taken care of. And as was mentioned, we have sent crews now over to the West Coast to assist them in their recovery efforts over there. Couple of things I want to talk to you about. One of them is this housing bond. And honestly, I mean, you're going to make your own decision whether you want to support it or not. But I think it's important that you know the facts, because there's been misinformation, unfortunately printed in the newspaper, about the genesis of this proposal, and also about the history of having affordable housing in Palm Beach County. So let me just correct the record. The idea for the housing bond originated in 2019 by Commissioner Mac Bernard. He brought it up in the fall of 2019, And as you know what happened as we moved into 2020, COVID hit. The board made the decision at that time to table that proposal because of the uncertainties, the impacts COVID was having on people's incomes. We felt it was not an appropriate thing to bring to the public. So it was not brought forward by the development community. It was brought forward by Commissioner Bernard as something he thought was important for our community. The second point, there's been some articles that said the county back in the mid-2000s had not had or didn't require affordable housing. Well, that much of it was true. The piece that you have to remember was back in 2010, everything was affordable here. Prices had plummeted. I mean, you couldn't give away properties for many people. People were underwater. The market changed very, very quickly, but that didn't happen until about 2016 when that occurred. And still, we were seeing 6% annual increases in property values. Fast forward to last year, 30% increase in average property values in the county. So it's there have been a number of extraordinary circumstances that have occurred, and you know, yeah, did we keep up with it? No, we have always been behind. But I just want to get the facts out there, you know, and you'll make your own decision whether you want to support it or not. And then lastly, just remind you, we're still in October. We've been known to get hit with hurricanes, so just please, if you've got your supplies, don't return them. Hang on to them. Let's get through hurricane season safely. And, you know, lastly, I will leave you with, it's been my absolute privilege and honor to represent your community on the county commission. I will be on the ballot in November, and I humbly ask for your continued support. Thank you, and God bless you. Oh, Greg Weiss. Okay, hopefully people know. Yeah, Greg Weiss, County Commissioner, Vice Mayor, District 2.
Okay. Quick report before I forget. We have 2 microphones in the front, and there's 1 microphone in the back, so not everybody has to walk up front. Thank you for keeping the chatter down. Most of you, if you do not know, David is in the hospital. He's recuperating, and he has asked that I run the current meeting. That's why you see me sitting up front instead of David. We do have a very strict agenda. At this point, Marilyn we're going to be voting, so we're going to be using the clickers, and we haven't used them in a while. Marilyn would like to talk to you, but if you turn to the 3rd page from the end of your package, there's a complete explanation of how it works, but some people do better than verbally, or they might have forgotten your glasses. Go ahead, Marilyn.
Okay. Everybody hear me? Okay. They're back. And please, everybody hold it up. Make sure that in the upper left corner, you see Key Point Interactive. And down below, at the bottom of the clicker, is just a little hole. I'm telling you that because I finally figured out why we don't always get the same number that we receive from the door on our board. Sometimes I think people may be clicking from the bottom. So the bottom should be where the hole is. That you'll be holding it like this when you go to click, okay? All right. And then the first 3 buttons are the only buttons you need to pay attention to. The other 2 don't do anything for you. The first button is a yes, second one's a no, and the third one is I don't know or I don't care. All right? Otherwise, we're set to go. Everybody likes the clickers, I think. Let's try and do them right. Thanks.
Thank you. We have a quorum. We're at 144 right now. I haven't been told that. I saw him walk out. Okay, well, maybe. All right, do we have any unfinished business before we move to new business?
That's all you got today. Okay.
Okay, seeing no unfinished business, we're gonna go to new business. At this time, the go ahead, ma'am. Did you, unfinished? New business. Okay.
My name's Beth Dorico, and I live in Wellington.
Come to the microphone, please.
My name's Beth Dorico. I live in Wellington J, and I'm an avid walker who's desperately concerned about pedestrian safety. Wearing white, being in the crosswalk does not matter. I was walking a dog on the 23rd, and we were not in the road, and he was hit by a car that did not stop, did not swerve, and left the village. I was in such shock. I did not get the license plate. I know it's kind of a boxy, gray, silvery car. Donald and Eva were awesome. And yet, over $1,000 and the trauma to this dog, and knowing that we were standing exactly like this, not in the road, God bless this dog, it could have been me. This is beyond the safety committee. This is an association, a UCO issue. At what point does UCO have a legal obligation to prevent risk, known risk? Speed bumps, pedestrian crosswalks, all that stuff is great. And I know you've increased security patrols and you've increased sheriff presence during season. Off season, people think it's an open speedway, and you can see people going in the 50s. I mean, and in my little Wellington area, we just posted new signs, thanks to Donald, about 10 miles an hour. But I am really concerned. I was standing in the center of the crosswalk by the clubhouse here, and a Seacrest vehicle came in front of me in the crosswalk. Now, I know that's a really long crosswalk, especially for somebody who's not walking very quickly. However, I was in the crosswalk, so I think we need an information campaign, and then we need accountability. Because people don't really realize, coming from whatever state they come from, that in a crosswalk, the pedestrian has the right of way, no matter the day, the time, anything. And I was wearing white when this person hit this dog. The dog, somebody else saw it from one of the other buildings. The dog flipped. That's how fast this person was going. And I just need to raise this. I know it's been an issue for years. I walk the circle at least twice. I stay on the sidewalk. I use the pedestrian walks, even though I don't think they're placed correctly. I understand the boondoggle there, you know, that they're not by every bus stop or whatever. But I know that the security committee has addressed this in the past. This is a bigger issue. This is an environmental issue that the whole village needs to be concerned about. Whether we put in speed islands to slow people down on the main roadways or what. But this was over $1,000 for this dog, and he's going to be okay, as traumatized as he is. I'm not sure I will be.
Thank you. Donald, do you have anything that you would like to expand on at this moment?
I can agree, at least anecdotally, that everybody speeds. It's this place, and the passing on the double yellow is another issue. Our deputies are, really doing their best, getting here as much as possible to give tickets. I think that's the best deterrent that there can be. As far as speed calming devices, which you mentioned, such as speed tables, they are a possibility, but this is not something that we can just do. It would require a civil engineering study. So this can be put on the agenda of the next BID's infrastructure committee, because speed tables would be infrastructure, and you would work it through the system like that. I don't think it's a bad idea, but it has to be done correctly. There's a manual of uniform traffic control devices that has to be followed, and if we don't, we put ourselves into liability risk. So we would definitely put this on the agenda, and Dom's going to take it from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Donald. You and Eva have been great when I was really freaked out that morning.
Yes, you were.
But my background's in public health, and getting people to follow safety precautions like non-smoking requires a campaign, an information campaign, and there's a whole bunch of literature on how you do this. And one of the things that the infrastructure piece is huge, and it takes a long time. So what can we do besides sheriffs, who we have to call in the meantime? A UCO reporter article, publishing in
Perfect.
each, a flyer for each bulletin board in the village that says, we actually are going to enforce these. upping enforcement for the first 6 weeks of season changes people's behavior. Because if a lot of tickets are given out, then people begin to hear the rumors that they're going to get fined. So I just am recommending I know we all have great professional expertise in a whole variety of fields. This just happens to be mine. And since I was the one who almost got hit, I'm sort of hot on the issue.
Invested, you might say.
Yeah, I'm invested. But, I walk a ton, and
Okay.
I see you every morning.
Every
And I
morning.
don't anymore walk when it's dark or dusk or dawn, because I'm scared.
Okay.
Luckily for us, we do have a newspaper of note, which is widely read in the community. Ma'am, you might want to consider writing an article for the newspaper and get it to Ruth, okay?
All right. If everybody could turn to page 5 in their package, there's a picture, and page 6. Donald, I'm going to leave it up to you.
You sure about that, boss?
Yep.
All right. Are we on flock?
Yes.
Okay, you guys heard a brief description of the flock safety system from our professional, from Captain P. I'll just basically rehash, because he did a good job. What this proposal is for the installation of 4 smart cameras, 2 at each of our exit lanes, 2 of each of our entrance lanes. These cameras are connected wirelessly and powered with solar power to a database. That database will pick up things like people who have open warrants, people who are violating a no-contact order. For instance, we have a man who is a convicted felon. His no-contact order is for, quote, the entire Century Village community. He's not allowed to be on this property. If he's stupid enough to drive his own car, that will be picked up. A message will be sent directly to PBSO as if it was a 911 call, and there is 100% response on these things. People who don't have insurance or driver's licenses. It's not a foolproof system. In my experience, miscreants, dirtbags I call them, tend not to have cars. They're on the hoof, right? They're walking, or they're driving their girlfriend's car. This won't catch that. But I think that this is a net security benefit to our community for a relatively low cost. I think we put a picture of the actual.
Yeah, that's what page 5 is, the actual
Yeah.
picture, and page 6 is actually what the actual cost would be to us.
Yeah, so there's a picture here showing where 2 of the cameras will be. This one's over at the right by the UCO office, one coming, one going. And I thought we had a picture of the actual camera, but maybe we don't. It's very unintrusive. You probably won't even notice that it's there. So I'm recommending that you approve this proposal. It's been approved by the officers and the executive board. And that's better yet, if you guys have questions, I'm more than happy to answer it, because
Well, I need a motion first.
oh yeah, just
I need a motion and a second.
good job.
Okay. Who's going to second it? I need to know. Is that Maureen? Okay, Maureen Debeguer seconded the motion.
Okay, so now we're in discussion, and I'd be happy
Okay.
to answer any questions that you have. Yes, ma'am. And everybody just kind of get up here, so this way we
Yeah.
can all hear you.
I see the price, but I don't see what the price is going to be every year after that. It
Oh,
says
okay.
recurring 8,000. So
Yeah, I'll answer that question.
We'll explain that.
The original payment will be $9,400,
Gee.
and that includes the $8,000 for the service, plus $350 for each of the cameras installed. After that, it's an ongoing charge of $8,000 per year. Now, if these cameras don't belong to us, they belong to the service provider. If they're damaged, or if there's a better camera down the line and they want to upgrade, they do that at no additional charge to us. This is just an initial installation charge. So $9,400 year one, $8,000 a year after that. This is a 2-year contract, 24 months.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Susan.
Hi. I'm Susan Canzala, president of Dover Condo Association, and many know we've been trying to work through the security camera issue. What the police officer referenced was that this only flags the license plates.
Correct.
It does nothing to capture people or activity
That's
other
correct.
than just 100% license plate flagging, correct?
Yes and no. Susan, I'll be the first one to tell you that this system is not foolproof, because if you're not in a car, if you're a bad guy and you're driving your own car, it'll catch you. But if you're smart and you're not, or you just go in with someone else, it won't catch that.
Did we the question is how much investigation was taken for a more thorough
You're talking about facial recognition technology.
I'm saying even just a base recording to back.
We have those cameras, ma'am. The cameras are there now.
Oh, yeah, this is a supplement to our existing camera
Supplement to
system.
the cameras
But I-
that we have
Okay.
there now.
But Susan, but I think your question is there technology that looks for people? And the answer is yes, but far without our reach right now as far as money.
So no, I just didn't want this to replace the camera.
No, absolutely
I
not.
wanted
This is a
this to be
supplement. And
then-
our security force has access to this system,
Okay.
which is based in the cloud.
Because I know when Beth got hit, they were looking at and saw the car.
Right.
But they didn't have any capability of being able to track who or
Correct.
what it was.
And as you heard Captain P explain, beyond the automatic license plate recognition, it also takes details about the car, whether it has a dent or a sticker or a bust. It'll actually will pick that stuff up, and it'll be used after the fact to help solve crimes.
Okay, again, just
But you need to be clear what this can do and what it
when
cannot
it
do.
cannot. Are there any other security cameras throughout the rest of Century Village?
Yes.
Okay.
Richard?
The cameras photograph cars, not people. And secondly, there are about 8,000 condos. The initial installation will cost each of you about $1.15 a year. And after that, for continuation, it'll be about $1 a year.
Ed, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead, Ed.
That we keep talking about safety, and we keep talking about speeding. It's my feeling that anything that will be a help to control what we know is going on in the village. As I understand it, in the past, Yugo was able to fine people for speeding, but it wasn't well received. So in the overall budget, whether it's $1 or a nickel or $2, on an $8 million budget, it's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. If one person, one accident is avoided, it's certainly worth $1 a piece. So I'm for it 100%.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Ori. I'm Mike from the tech officer for Gulf's Edge. So when the Sheriff's Department was talking about this system that would be able to read the plates, is that backwards compatible? If you call the Sheriff's Department and put, let's say, either a no contact order or report suspicious activity of a vehicle, will that automatically update the system?
If there is a no contact order on the books, it will be in the database. As soon as someone driving their own car violates a no contact order by coming into the village, an immediate message goes to PBSO, which will draw a response.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Joe Zarella. I live at Wellington G. On these cameras, has anybody did an investigation on other areas where they didn't have the cameras and what was the problems, and then they went with the cameras and what was the result and what was the future result? Are we
Okay,
ready to
the
go
answer is
forward?
the answer is yes. I personally did do that, mostly by talking to other CAMs in this area. I also dealt with a CAM in Palm Beach. Turns out the town of Palm Beach, which is an island, has installed this technology at all the entrances to the island, the bridges. Word is out. If you don't belong in Palm Beach Island, don't go over that bridge in your own car. The police will intercept you instantly. It's Another municipality that's used it and had a lot of success is Riviera Beach. Singer Island, I believe the Merchants Association actually funded it for Singer Island. So it's something that's pretty much picking up, especially in the larger condominium communities. I've heard no negative reviews of it, frankly. So it seems to me to be it can't hurt. I think it'll be a net security benefit.
Are there any other questions?
Should we?
Good, can we call a vote? Did you want to say something, Ed?
Yeah, I think I said, let's call for a vote.
Oh, okay. We're going to call for a vote. So, ladies, whenever you're ready, let us know.
Someone has to did someone make a motion?
Yes, yeah, we
We're
did.
calling the vote in.
Start voting, that's when you start voting, okay? Otherwise, when they miss your vote, it's
Okay.
too early.
Are you guys ready? Start your voting. How am I doing?
Doesn't get fuzzy as we get further away from the screen?
No. I just hope it works with all the effort that we spent in it. While we're waiting for the votes, something was brought to my attention before. If you are representing more than one building, you're only allowed to vote once. You're not allowed to have two clickers because you're on the board or a delegate from both buildings. So it was brought to my attention that somebody said, I'm the president of two buildings, I get two clickers. You get one clicker, just so that you know, for the future.
So that'll affect the total. We don't know how many.
Well, it doesn't matter. They can't only vote once. Yeah.
As far as people here,
But he can't be a delegate in two buildings. He's only one. Excuse me. Yes.
I think you're wrong. If they are president of two separate buildings, that's two separate associations.
You only get one clicker.
No, let me finish my statement, please.
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm Dover. We have 9 votes. If I came up and said, I have good representation here, but not everybody's here, can I have the clickers for them? I totally agree with you. But if a person steps up and volunteers for 2 separate buildings, then they should be able to vote for those 2 buildings.
Doesn't work that way.
I think you're
Doesn't
wrong.
work that way.
I don't,
Well, you can only have
I'm
one,
getting-
excuse me.
Fausto,
okay.
Go ahead.
let me read from the bylaws, please.
Sure, go ahead.
Nor shall a delegate or alternate delegate represent the members of more than one condominium association at the same time.
Okay.
In the
All right.
bylaws.
Thank
That's
you,
what the
because
alternates are for.
I totally, well, so then they have to get another representative here to represent them to be able to get the separate clicker. Important to note. Thank you. for
That's
that.
why it's important to have an alternate. If you don't have an alternate, it's your own fault.
Is it working? Uh-oh. Computer. Joanne, it's okay. They've been working very hard to get the system working. All the batteries have been replaced. The system has been tested, but today is Friday, and I guess the computer wants to sleep. But we're working on it. Give us a chance. Yeah, yeah. Just, well, you're going to be voting on a lot of other things, so we want to make sure that it's working. You know? I'm sorry? Oh, yes, you will. Trust me. Domenico, come stai oggi? Good, I'm good. But by the way, I'm glad you wore blue. I was going to wear a blue shirt, but I said Dominic's going to wear a blue shirt.
Why don't we just have standing?
Well, because we want to make sure that it works. How are they going to vote on the budget?
Yeah,
Give them a couple of minutes.
I don't think it's the computer, I think it's the clickers.
Just so you ladies appreciate, the committee with the clickers has been working for 2 months to make sure that the clickers are working and that the system is working. We need to give them an opportunity to make the system work. In the absence, we will have the placards go up so that everybody can vote.
That guy who was talking.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is Joanne's bid. She's been working with the system. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't know if he has I was looking to see if he had a placard that he could vote, but I'll see if we call for a vote. You know, if he's a delegate, that's the only way we could find out. They could put him on, the building could put him on, could be a renter. They could put him on as a delegate. Oh, really? No, it's not. That's not. I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes, and then we're going to put our hands up. Oh, well, we were doing good up until then.
Today part is that the girls tested out. They worked it, they 4 new batteries, so it's weird.
While we're waiting, and so we don't have too much chatter, there's 2 things that you should be looking at. I know we've discussed this. There'll be a pill drop for the first meeting in December. There's a flyer here. Please put it on your bulletin board so that the people in your building don't flush the drugs down the toilet. And the very last page, we get a lot of calls, a lot of people inquiring about what is covered and what is not covered by AMR. 2 weeks ago, we had a representative, the new representative that represents our facility, come down, and we asked her to put something in writing under the current contracts, which changes every day, okay? This is what is covered. It is the very last page in your contract. So please use it as a tool, okay? Remember, it is not an insurance policy. It's a service that's provided. But we get phone calls almost every day. My husband's got to go here. My wife's got to go there. Will I be covered? This should answer your questions. If it does not answer your questions, contact us, one of the VPs, and we'll try to help you out. If you happen to get a bill from the red truck or from AMR, bring it to the office and we will help you through it. You should not receive any bills from AMR. If you do, it's a mistake. Bring it in, bring it to me, and I will take care of it. If you get a bill from the red truck, that means that you have a deductible. 9 times out of 10, if you fill in the back and send it back, they will write it off. Or on the other side, I just had a woman 2 weeks ago that she was distraught that her husband was being taken away. She did not give them any information. So she got a bill for the full amount, $750, and she went panicking. But on the bottom of the bill, it said, please provide your insurance information. So she came in, I showed her, she filled it and mailed it in, and the bill was taken care of. So again, if you have any questions, we'll be there, we'll help you out. Are we getting close?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
she was very informative, but I believe she said one sentence, which is the bottom line, and that is AMR is here for non-emergency calls.
They know that.
In essence, if you call, first of all, you have to call the fire department. They call AMR, and AMR is obligated to take us on a non-emergency call. And the emergency generally is determined by the fire department. If they feel you got to go this instant, they will take you. But I think you're going to get reimbursed if you have insurance. I have.
How we doing? Okay. We're going to take a vote on
Manually.
a manual vote. Get your little placards out. I need a yes vote on the flock safety security cameras. Everybody in favor, please raise your hands. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to.
How about no?
Are there any no votes?
One.
One. Okay. Are there any abstentions? Cool. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Well, minus one. Okay.
Why don't you go to the treasurer?
I'm going to.
Just for numbers' sake, how many people?
Treasurer has a lot to say.
Carolyn, did anybody leave? Anybody turn in their, are we short anybody? One?
All right.
Okay. So 143 minus one. It was 142 people voted yes and one person voted no. For the record. Okay. Yes? All right. All right. Was it combat boots? No, just reboot. Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda is our treasurer's budget. Please go to the budget. Ed, you're on.
I feel like I'm on. I just want to make a quick comment. We talk about safety. We talk about AMR. I think we should all be grateful that we didn't get the tornado that they got over at Kings Point. 1,000 or so people are left homeless, and that's just by luck. It's good to see so many people here, and I don't know, my personal opinion is I get a much warmer feeling having a delegate assembly here where you could turn around and talk to people and communicate. So that's my personal opinion. I want to address the budget. Have you all had a chance to look at it? Anybody who hasn't had a chance? Okay, so I want to proceed in this kind of a fashion. What I've always...
You need to talk into the microphone. They can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? That's what Ruth says, you talk too loud. Anyway, what I've always tried to do is make everything as transparent as possible. So the first thing I'd like you to do is if you look on the top of page 1, there's a little comment. And the comment says, see page 3. And what is that about? So if you all turn to the bottom of page 3 and look at the total, you will note that it is the exact amount as on page 1 for general. Now, I did that because I got numerous requests. What is general? What are we paying for? What does general mean? Well, if you take the time and look at page 3, everything that goes into quote-unquote general is available for every association. So you don't have to depend on your CAM to break it down. You could see it. I want to make sure everybody has a chance to see that. The next comment, if you've seen it, is I hope to improve it next year because what we have here is totally incomplete. And what do I mean by incomplete? The first few items that are on top as far as income are only a partial of what we really have because there are many items, including, let's say, insurance, where we can't adjust it. That's the number. Payroll and payroll taxes, unless we fire our illustrious CAM, you can't do anything about it. And there are many other items that can go into you can't adjust it. What it does come down to is I did a preliminary schedule, and out of $8 million of a budget, approximately $7 million is non-movable because of contracts, and you really can't change it, which actually leaves us as unit owners $1 million to work with. Now, there is another comment on the budget, and it gets to 99 cents. So you all know our budget as of last year is on a line-by-line basis. This budget, before it came here, was presented to the Officers Committee and to the Executive Board. There were some small changes, and what I did on the bottom where it says 99 cents, the changes that were made are reflected in the new total increase in the budget, which is $5 and change. Actually, it was a bit less, $1 less, but there were, as you look at those items and take it, there were 3 items that went up, and we could go
They
through.
can't hear you, Ed.
There were 3 items, or 4 items. 3 items went up, 1 item went down, and that accumulated to a plus 99 cents. I want to say that the budget was vetted very carefully, not only by the Finance Committee, but by the Officers Committee and by the Executive Board. The other major point is the review of our reserves. So if everybody would kindly turn to page 5, there's an analysis of our reserves. Now, it's an important schedule because we are currently putting in a little over $1 million a year into our reserves. if you look at it carefully, if you look at it carefully, I usually talk loud. If you look at it carefully, if you look towards the bottom, you will see several items that are completely funded. Inasmuch as they were completely funded, we don't necessarily have to make any more contributions to those items that are in our reserves. Now, it went down, and part of it went down is because we no longer have the reserve for the legal proceedings for the Millennium Agreement, and there was roughly $156,000 that was not spent. The money is there, so what I did is allocate those funds to several items which were not previously totally funded, and off the top of my head, I think it reduced $187,000 that we have to put in 2023 to maintain the current budget. There was another item, and in 2022, upon the advice of a very large blacktop manufacturer and also an installer, we determined that from 2012, which was when we finished all the roads, the cost of doing the same job today would be close 40 to 50% more. And we had 15 million, so I reduced it to 12 million, which was more than 40 to 50% of what we had. Therefore, that item has the same as last year. However, this year I questioned Simmons and White. For those of you who were around in 2010 and 2012, Simmons and White was hired by us, and they did a huge study before we did the roads. And when the roads finished in 2012, they did a review and gave it as a good go. I called them to see if they would come in. They didn't have the time. Everybody's going crazy on the engineering field, as you know, with these new regulations. However, the gentleman who actually did the study and is an engineer, when I reviewed the item with it, he said, we had estimated a 15-year useful life. He said, overall, it should be 20 years. So we increased 15 to 20, and that also helped reduce what we had to put in. Now, we've had other people in. It is unlikely that we will do all the roads in the near future. Donald has developed a system. It's called the Donald Patch System. If something's broken, he fixes it with a patch. One of my prior treasurers said, that way, Donald, we'll never have to do the roads. It's a bit of a hyperbole because the engineer said, amongst other things, the roads will deteriorate and the material that keeps it together will dissipate and you will have to do it. So those items, which were significant, helped reduce what we had to maintain our budget at what I consider a conservative level. We will have over 10 million now. We'll have over 11 million next year. And no one wants to walk around and say we don't cover ourselves, but it's highly unlikely within the next future years that we would have to do the entire road at one time. And actually, we were advised that it's not a good procedure to do it like we did last time. So having highlighted those items is what I used and information that was provided to reduce our budget. And actually, it was $4 and change, but on the advice of both the Officers Committee and also of the Executive Board, we had some increases. I welcome any questions. If you have any other items you'd like to address, that's
Yeah,
what
I have
we're
a
here
question, yeah.
for.
You have a question, Dan?
Okay, I see on the security here, it used to be 910,000, and next year it's going to be 1,000,002. That's 33% increase, 33%.
Actually, it's a very good question. It was taken up at length. 3 different security companies were interviewed. All 3 came up with increased prices over what we had. If there is a technical difference, if you look on the page 1, it says we went up $100,000.
Same.
Not true. We actually went up $233,000 because basis how you normally calculate the budget, our budget would have been 900,000 and change, and we're coming up to 12 million. All right. The reason for that, amongst other things, is the new contract, which is not finalized yet, calls for UCO to pay for the fuel of the cars, which we didn't do before.
Yes.
As they understand it, I was there for one other meeting. That seems to be the going trend today. All I could say is not necessarily the dollar amount that disturbs me personally, is the fact with insurance going up like crazy, we actually pay and cover the employees of the security company. It's actually our contract. And unless that's changed, I haven't seen the contract. That seems to be the predominantly going method that security companies use.
Yes.
So, failing...
No, I understand what you're saying. So I have another, I don't know how relevant it is. It used to be in the same time of the hike, they used also the association, when I was on the committee, they talk about the salaries of the employees. Is that including also the hike for the employees, or it's a company matter?
No. Actually, during 2022, there was an adjustment for salaries, and the reason being the unavailability of qualified people at a very, very low hourly rate.
Yes.
And if you look around, the best sign I've seen is on U-Haul. It says, come in today, work and get paid today. So I believe we're roughly at the $18 an hour.
No, I'm talking about just generally speaking, is the 33% hike also including the workers?
That's a contracted price. That's the contract, that's what we don't break down what they get paid.
Okay.
That's a contracted price.
And I think we all realize that with the inflation, you see more for help signs than you ever seen before at the entry level. Now, like anything else, you pay for what you get. I think Platinum has done a much better job than our prior. And when you come to security, that's not a place to tighten your belt where you don't have it. And my personal opinion is they've been doing a very, very good job. And can someone do it better? Possibly. But you don't have that many new companies that can get the help to fund and do a place as big as Century Village. So that limits part of our ability to interview 12 companies. So,
Okay,
Ed, we have more questions back here.
go ahead. Who's ever in the back? Speak up.
Les Ripken, Stratford J. The budget, I think, overall is pretty good, but I'd like to suggest a couple of items. Number one, for our buses and the security cars, that as we negotiate, we push for electric cars and buses. Another suggestion is that when we print out all this stuff on paper, we print on both sides. And a third suggestion is the UCO building, consider putting solar on the roof. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Susan.
I was asked, a small group around me, we're going to pass this budget without, okay.
Hold on. Go ahead.
The other item that we're going to vote on with regard to Breeze Line is going to be talked about after.
Breeze
the-
Line is not on this, is not here.
Right, okay, so are we waiting, could I give a motion to vote?
Well, Ed, have you finished your presentation on the budget?
I personally think I covered.
Okay, that's what we
what's
need to know. All right, so now
from
I need a
a-
motion, and I need a second, and then we can ask if anybody
There's
has.
someone in the back trying to get.
Go ahead, Al.
There's a discussion after.
Okay.
So motion, second.
Wait a minute,
and
there's
then-
someone,
We're running the meeting. No, just
Motion.
Go ahead.
second,
there's
and-
too many people. The person in the back
Go ahead, Al.
raising his hand.
I got that.
My name is Alan Plotnick. I'm in Wellington, L. I seem to remember back at the beginning of the year when we signed a contract with Academy that we were supposed to get new buses.
Okay.
And
This,
they were,
this is not in the budget.
yes, it is, because we could get new buses,
No, we
which
can't.
would have been
Never.
hybrid buses.
No, you're misinformed.
And the
Misinformed.
misinformed?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe so.
New word,
But-
not new.
Newer buses was the terminology.
Been used.
They had
And it's a 5-year contract?
They had it was new buses, and they had pictures and diagrams of the layout of the buses.
Newer, the word was newer buses, not brand new buses. There were other people that bid, they were supplying newer buses, but Academy bid newer buses. Does that answer your question?
I wish I had the report.
Okay, no problem. Yes.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to add that the point of newer buses, I brought up at several meetings, and I felt that we were entitled to an adjustment because we were paying $45 an hour. The buses that were supplied, we are paying $65 an hour, and the Academy said they were unavailable to get us the newer buses. It was brought up at more than one transportation meeting and by me. And I also asked Academy for information on the buses, which I was denied. However, I called Infinity, which is the manufacturer of the buses that we do have, and I felt we're definitely entitled to a adjustment because according to Infinity, the manufacturer of those buses, when they sell them, they say they're programmed or built to do 500,000 miles. That doesn't mean they can't
Ed,
do
can we
more.
get back to this, can we get back to the
It's-
budget,
Just let
please?
me finish this, please. Our buses have almost 800 to 850,000 miles, and they're available. But the committee didn't want to go forward.
Could somebody make a motion to accept the budget? Okay. Somebody,
Somebody come to the mic and make the motion, please.
come up to the mic and make a motion, or go,
I make a motion, Bobby Levin, Somerset A. I
Okay.
make a motion that we accept the 2023 budget as presented.
thank you. Who seconds it? Go ahead, state your name on the mic, ma'am.
Beth DeRico, Wellington J.
Okay, now we have a motion, now we have a second. Is there any discussion on the budget as presented?
I have a question. By voting on this budget, are we automatically accepting the Breeze Line bulk package? Because it's-
No,
Thank
that
you.
is not part of this, it's not in there, ma'am. No. That's a different thing.
No.
We are currently under a bulk agreement with Breeze Line. They did try to change their agreement where we would make internet and bulk TV all one, and the officers and the board decided, at this point, we're not going to make any changes. So what you have in the budget is what the actual cost is for bulk TV, not internet. Does that answer everybody's question? Terrific.
My bill last time was from 94 when they started to 111 a month. This is a big hike that I get from Breeze Line.
Well-
From 94 to 111.
It's not in the budget.
I don't know. Okay. Well, I don't know. Okay.
What's next, Mr. Chair?
Richard,
There's a broadband meeting next Wednesday at UCO. If you have any questions about the Breeze Line contract, get in touch and see if there's room for you to come. It should not come up here.
go ahead, Donald.
Yeah, on that, the chair of that committee is in the hospital on his way to rehab. I doubt very much that meeting will take place. We'll let you know when the next broadband meeting will take place.
Okay. All right. Do we think the clickers are working? Are there any other questions on the budget as presented? Good. We're going to call the vote. Are you ready? Go ahead, vote. Hit your clickers. Oh, yeah, it's working. What's the number? They got 4 minutes. Actually, 143. Then, it was 144, one person walked out, so it was 143, one extension.
Al, did anybody else leave?
7 people left? Okay, 7, 136. Okay. Yeah, no, let it give everybody, I know we got 4 minutes up there, so. Okay, it's all right. It's okay. We still have a quorum with the people that left. We still have 136 delegates in the House, besides whoever just voted and walked out the door. Yeah, those are the minutes left to vote, just in case.
129.
We're at 129, so.
How many people?
Look on the right-hand side, under received, you'll see how many have voted. And that's what we're talking about when we say that we don't always get the same number that the door gives us. So that's usually either a mistake or somebody didn't want to vote. That's why it's kind of important if you don't understand or don't want to vote to hit abstain. Okay?
Hit that third button.
No, don't hit the button.
No.
No, don't hit the button. It doesn't
No,
matter.
not now. I'm talking, if they don't want to vote, hit the button. Whatever.
If there's anybody that has not voted, please vote, because I'm going to stop the count at 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Stop.
Okay, that's it. Stop it. Ten 50. Okay. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for voting. You now have your new budgets.
What was the vote?
The vote was
24, 4, and 1.
124 for, 4 noes, and 1 abstention. Well, we had a, before we took the vote, 136 were in the House. So, because not everybody voted. People got up and walked out. They're walking out now. So,
Hey,
but the
Fausto?
majority of the people voted. Yes.
Just so everybody knows, the one extension is my wife, and I asked her to abstain just to see if it works. And it did,
Throwing your wife under the bus.
so to speak.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes.
What about the CAM report?
We're
While
going.
the agenda just says the budget, I also included the report.
Well, getting to that, we're trying to get one thing done.
You have that at a different time?
What's that?
Yeah, that's under officers' reports.
Oh, okay. It's okay
does-
with me?
Right underneath the treasurer's report, it says officers' report.
Well, whatever. I thought that's a treasurer's report.
Please, move on.
Anyway, let's move ahead.
Okay, hold on. All right. Bob, go ahead.
I just want to say, all right, you people were elected to your positions, all right, as your presidents and your delegates, all right? And for all those people that are walking out and leaving, it's a shame. I think it's a shame that they're walking out in something so important like this. All right, yeah, it gets boring up here sometimes. I get bored. I'd like to get up and walk out, all right? But I'm here. And if I'm here, you should be too.
Thank you, Bob. Yes, ma'am. Could you come up to the microphone so we could hear you, please?
My name is Martha Ripp, and I live in the Dover Association. We have, I think the limit is 9 or 10, or I don't know how many our limit is for Democrats, for delegates. Thank you.
Right.
You have 9, right?
I think we have 9.
Right.
The only time we have representation here is they're not here. They're never here for a delegates meeting. They should not be on as delegates. We have other people in our association that want to be delegates.
Okay.
But these other people, other residents, are never here to attend.
Okay, let me explain that to you. There's a form. You have delegates and you have alternate delegates. If they're not here, whoever is the president of your building, who's your secretary, is supposed to fill in that form. It's readily available at the UCO office. They sign it. You have all regular delegates and officers and alternates. If they're not here, as long as you are a registered delegate on that form, you can come in and vote. Does that answer
But
your question?
the residents that are delegates are not here most of the time.
That's
And
why
the
you have.
alternates, I don't know if the alternates are here.
Okay, this is go ahead, Donald. It's a building issue.
All right, guys, look, each of you are assigned a certain amount of delegates. You have a lot. You have not. It goes one by every 25 or 24 units. It's up to each association board to name their delegates, and they could name as many alternate delegates as they see fit.
We have one alternate.
That's,
as far as
well,
that
okay, I'm going to tell you. Each board can do as they like in that regard. So you need to communicate with your board, and if you think it's a good idea to have, ask your board. But ultimately, it's up to the board. We have no control over that.
Yeah, well, in order to get all the votes in, that is important, like the budget and everything else. They're not here to vote for the
No,
whole
we agree with
association.
you, and we want every
So
association,
what can we do to change that?
get on your board,
Change your board.
Oh.
Get on your board.
Thank you. That's impossible.
okay?
Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm with Dover, and I just want to say that it's important to remember as a delegate, you're not voting your own opinion, you're voting as a representation of the entirety of the condominium you represent. It has been experienced that some people take on this role and feel that they have the right to make that decision without ever asking or talking to. They take that step forward and vote whatever they want. And because of that, they have not been able to go forward as a delegate, and we have people that when they're here, they do come. So again, I highly apologize for the difficulties Dover's bringing to the mic, but I want to let you know that when you're here, please come and please represent your entire building. Thanks.
Go ahead.
right.
I'm sorry.
No, this is, Fausto, this
yeah.
is a condominium
Right. This is a
business.
condo. It does not belong
It
here.
doesn't belong in this room, and our
Right.
bylaws actually preclude us for even getting involved in
Right.
the business. You guys got to work this out yourself. We're not marriage counselors.
I don't expect you to work it out, but
My own
I'm
is
just-
hanging by a thread.
I'm just giving you an
Okay.
opinion,
I
and
know.
I'm not voting for myself. I'm voting
We understand,
for all
Mrs.
of
Rip,
us.
but we're going to stop this conversation now because it doesn't belong here, all right?
Yes, sir.
No, all I was going to say is you can just put this to bed easily. Get a website for your association.
No,
vote
that's
on your
okay.
websites and you're done.
That's, all right. We're going to go to officers' reports. So I'm going to go kind of like backwards. But Donald, I know you have a lot to bring to the table today.
Actually, not so much. You guys were a lot of help with this smart camera proposal, which I think is going to be a big deal here in the village. I'm looking forward to it. Right this minute, we're involved with the new fence project, which is being installed along Haverhill Road. We're about halfway through, I'd say. I'd say middle or end of next week, we should be complete. There was some concern about security because there are sections that are open. We've authorized additional security hours and an additional Rover car to watch over that area for the entire project. The fence is just the first part of this project. What we're working on now is, I'm speaking to FP&L, to get 17 new streetlights placed along that fence line on the Century Village side to light that section up. Because we have had in the past people cutting holes in the fence, and we want to really crack down on that. The other thing is I'm working on some cameras. So we'll have that whole strip lit better and cameraed, as well as a new fence. So that's pretty much what I've got going on right now. That's kind of all I have for today, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Donald.
And Michelina is excited because she lives opposite the fence.
Okay. Patricia?
Because of the time constraints, I'm going to pass.
Because of the time constraint, she's going to pass. Stuart?
I pass also. I hope you can hear me.
Dominic?
I have only one thing to say. 3 people have asked me if what happened at Sanibel could happen here at Century Village. And the answer is, for the most part, no. We're 7 miles from the ocean, and we're at elevation 17 feet above sea level. So it's pretty much a fact that we're fairly safe unless we have a horrendous storm. So that's about it for me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bob, you're next.
Yeah, you're going to hear from me.
Uh-oh.
All right, this is probably not the place to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. All right, listen. All right, we transferred a lot of money to pay for this air conditioning at the Operations Committee. All right? One of the things they transferred, which I totally opposed of, was the roof reserve for this building. If that hurricane would have hit here, and we were lucky that it didn't, we'd be paying a lot of money out of our pocket right now. All right? So I know there's nothing I can do about it now, but the whole thing with taking a reserve that is delegated for a specific thing, such as a roof, and putting it to pay for the air conditioning, which we shouldn't have paid for to begin with, all right, I think is ridiculous. And that's all I'm going to say.
I'm looking at you first.
Joanne?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to say thank you very much for your patience. We're working the wrinkles out. You know, the first time when you bring something out of mothballs, you just never know how it's going to react in actual use. So please, we will get this right. So thank you very much for your patience.
Miss Ruth? The editor of our UCO report.
Good morning, all. Is it still Friday? Very briefly, you have this in your packet. For the 8 months ending September, the reporter was ahead $5,321, approximately $665 a month. That's all I have to say. Happy Halloween. Have a good weekend.
Okay. Ed, your treasurer's report.
I'm going to pass. Actually, it'll take 2 seconds. We've had a very good 9 months. Our estimate to be ahead was 60,000. We're not ahead. We're 54,000 behind, and I think on an 8 million plus budget, that's a good piece of luck and maybe some good planning. So good luck to everybody.
Terrence? Okay, was there a question? Yeah, we're getting there. All guests were told that we have an agenda to follow, and they would come, other than the people that are here dealing with safety or people that help us in the village. But I'm well aware we have a visitor. Before we move on, do we have any questions for anybody at the head table? Wow, terrific.
Hello. I have a few people over there asking me to ask, by virtue of this conversation, are you allowed to move reserve funds without a vote?
Yes.
There was a vote. There was a vote.
Within the committee?
No.
Excuse me.
Right, within the committee, and
So the committee has more power than the delegates?
As
No.
far as the Operations Committee is concerned, the Delegate Assembly has no say.
You're
As far as the
Excuse me.
operations committee is concerned, the delegates have no vote.
excuse me, right.
I'm just saying, so operations is
The
an
money
entirely
that was
different thing.
moved is what WPRF holds for us.
Okay, I got you.
It's your
So
funds, but they ultimately have
They
where it
ultimately
goes.
have the say.
Right.
So I just wanted to
And
answer that. They can move those.
Just to make you aware, if we did not do that, we would be paying almost $400 a month interest for them to lend us the money, which would make the pockets even deeper.
I totally trust you guys
Okay.
did the right thing.
So,
I just want to make
there
sure
you
that
go.
those had the question. You did the right thing.
Go ahead, buddy.
Okay, I want to know how Breeze Line from 1 month can raise you 25% on their internet.
Okay. This is a recovery fee that we understand is being given by every provider, whether it's Comcast, AT&T. They've all found a way of not raising your prices, but say, we're losing money, we need to build our infrastructure, and we're going to bill you for it.
Yeah, let's put it this way. We're all on fixed incomes, and Social Security doesn't give us a raise like that.
I'm sorry, I agree with you 100%. We're all in the same boat here. I know. But if we have a meeting, you're welcome to come or put it in writing, and we will, the best way to do it is write it, put it in writing, so we can give it to them.
Yeah, but you have those meetings down at Yukon. You're only getting 20 people in there. Put it in room C.
Well, once it's open, once the clubhouse is open, we will have them here again.
We do have Zoom, though.
Right, right. But the best thing, if you have an issue, security, whatever it is, please put it in writing. Once we put it in writing, we have a paper trail, and we can follow up on it. Yes, Jerry?
Okay, this is for Donald. I read your LCAM report religiously every week.
Thank you.
And I would just like you to reiterate to everybody about illegal construction, which every week you highlight that. And I know by my building, we follow the procedure that everything has to be given to me and my board before any construction could take place. And I just don't understand why some boards is whatever.
Jerry, I hear what you're saying. In a lot of cases, and in most cases you'll see in my report, because I don't put them all up, we have situations where flippers, guys that are buying units to rehab and sell or rent out, they simply play poker with the board and just go ahead and do what they want. And the board is in a position of, what do we do? And unfortunately, the thing to do at that point is to call your lawyer and take legal action against the new owner. This is here in Century Village, that's usually where it stops, unfortunately. We're being rolled over in a big way. The way I'm trying to mitigate this is to get the county involved. This way, once the county's involved in something not code or illegal is done, it's not even up to the board. It's up to the unit owner or the board to make it right. So I'm doing the best I can with that, but you, the associations, got to toughen up. When something happens, you have to be willing to venture the funds that it takes to take legal action against these people that are basically ripping up our buildings, and in some cases causing dangerous conditions, all right? We have people that are homeless right now in the village because of this stuff. So, it's kind of on you guys. You guys got to, I'm telling you straight out, you got to toughen up. You got to go to your lawyer, and if your lawyer doesn't want to play ball, go find another one. Go find a pit bull, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Mary Ann Somerset G.
Hi, Mary Ann.
Hi, Donald. First of all, we're dealing with a lot of people who don't follow our rules. We all know that.
We
They're
do.
just destroying one building after another. You're saying go to the lawyer. Well, here's an incident where a contractor came onto someone's property, and the board member, who's a senior, approached him and asked him what was going to be done. He told him, shut up, mind your business, go in your unit. The senior board member, tried to get him to understand something. So now this contractor, cursed him out, all sorts of language. I say, call the police, get a restraining order against these guys so they can't come on your property, or get an order of protection. You don't have to take the abuse from a contractor. He's on your property.
I can give you a similar solution. And
They're getting very aggressive, Donald. These are seniors.
And I've given this advice out to many associations now. You have a unit owner who is violating your rules. You can send Yuko a letter. You could send me a letter on your association's letterhead, 2 signatures and the seal. Please restrict this unit owner's ability to call in guests or workers.
Well, I also have
And when you send me that letter, we do what you want us to do. Now, I always tell you, talk to your lawyer before you do this.
Well, what
But,
I did in my building is I hung as you do interviews for new people coming into your building,
Sure.
well, I hung rules for contractors on my board. And on my board, it tells them 10 little simple things. Talk to your board first, show your permits, your license, whatever it is, and in the end, you got to have a certificate of completion.
Correct.
but you're to take all your stuff with you, and on and on. So make a little list of rules for contractors. Hang it on your common board. When these contractors come in, they say, oh, I didn't know. You can direct them to your common board, and here's the rules for you in this building. But under no circumstances should a contractor curse out a 90-year-old board member. Call the police and get a restraining order that he can't be on your property. That's
Look,
it.
There's
Yes.
a new sheriff in town, and her name is Mary Ann.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'll take the job.
Lynn Schaefer, Wellington F.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi. I noticed that there's several associations in arrears. Do they have the right to vote today?
No, that doesn't work that way, unfortunately. What we can do for, and we have legal opinion on this, for associations that are in delinquency to their UCO obligations, is we can restrict them from certain UCO amenities, like guest call-in. We could also take legal action against them. It almost never comes to that. ECED will basically make contact with the board and work something out, and it happens. Sometimes it's as simple as the president's sick, and he's writing the checks. It's never going to come to that, but we do keep an eye on that. Everybody has to pay their share. Fair's fair.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Are we on good of the public or whatever that's called?
Yes.
I just have a couple of quick questions about our fixed route transportation system. First of all, did all of our drivers and supervisors finally get copies of the schedule and route maps? Because a few weeks ago they didn't, and they were getting lost a lot. I know it's okay. Second of all, do we do anything with some of the federal grants that may be available to us to help provide?
Sir, if you don't mind, can the transportation chair answer your
Well,
questions? I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to interrupt you for a minute. Would you please allow the transportation chair to answer your questions one at a time rather than all at once? So let's deal with your first question. Would you mind repeating it, please?
All right, my first question is, did all of the drivers and supervisors finally get route maps and schedules? Because they didn't have them just a few weeks ago.
Yes, they did. And they also gave us new copies of the schedules that are up. I did get your letter. I did address it with you. I did have a meeting which you did not attend.
I wasn't aware of it.
Yes, you were. I told you. You told me you couldn't come to the meeting because it was far away, but you come here. We have a meeting every month. You can come. You can ask them your questions. I did go over every letter that I received that was a complaint, and I myself am riding the buses now to verify that these things are true. They are taking care of all the complaints that they received, and if you have any further complaints, you can put it in writing, drop it off at the office, or come on the monthly meetings.
I do that on a regular basis, and they're not responded to. May I continue asking? I have just a couple of more
No, that's
questions.
not true, because you just keep going on. I talked to you for 20 minutes. And
Yes, you did, and you didn't let me get a word in edgewise, because when I mentioned federal grants, you said, I don't have time, and you hung up.
Excuse me, could you
That's
please?
not true.
Please,
It's not
please,
true.
may I ask my question?
I'm not going to get excited like you never mentioned federal grants.
Yes, I
We
did.
spoke about your problems, and you wanted to give me suggestions, and I told you how to go. And you did not come to the office to see me because you did come, and they told me you were there, and I was in my office. So why didn't you come
I
and
was
sit
there
down and
to
talk
see
to
you.
me?
I don't know. It seems to be very
Okay.
difficult to get through. But may I ask these questions, and then I'll get the heck out of here, please? Are we doing anything with federal grants? There's so many available for communities like ours that provide transportation for seniors and disabled. And if we were working in coordination with PalmTran, they'd probably help us get these grants. Are we working with PalmTran?
No, we're not.
anyway? My final question is here. Why do we have such high turnover in the drivers and people, and they don't know where the heck they're going? Now, you realize that the ridership is nearly at peak ridership during, in off-season now, ridership is like it used to be during peak season. People are climbing on that bus, even though it isn't real reliable. We got a lot of people, of course, that can't drive for various reasons. We have a lot of people now that say they can't afford to drive. And we now
Sir,
have a
your
lot of
time
people
is
that
up.
say they're
Time's up,
afraid
sir.
to drive. Please, help build our system.
Thank you for your
It can be
comments, sir.
done. Thank you.
Okay.
He's horrible. He always
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Hey, Faust, you want to
Yes.
maybe have the
Oh, I'm
political?
sorry.
Hey, guys, hang on one sec, okay?
Hold on, I forgot. I'm sorry. We have one gentleman that wants to make a few short words. Go ahead.
I'll be very quick. My name is DeAndre Poole. I'm running for Port of Palm Beach Group 5. I need your support. You supported me for the primary, August 23rd. You can see my advertisement in UCO Reporter. Please, I need your vote. Thank you.
I apologize.
TD talk. He's running.
Really quick, my name is Terrence T.D. Davis. I'm running for the new Florida House District 94 seat, and this seat starts right here, the heart of Palm Beach County. And we're going west to the Glades, and we need your support as early voting has started, doing absentee ballot. And I also have one more guest here, Corinne. She's running for Congress. I'm going to save my time for her, but Terrence T.D. Davis for the new Florida House seat.
I apologize.
Hi, everyone. I just want to let you know I'm a combat veteran of 25 years. I served on Capitol Hill. I raised 3 sons, and I'm a teacher. I teach like a mile away from here. So please vote for Karina Balderramos Robinson, which includes this district. Thank you.
That hedge, one on the left up next to the canal, that's going to be trimmed this week. It's got damage in the middle. Oh, I'll take a look at that.